civilian will have a different role, but it is all geared towards peace.
You're undertaking this, no? You have your own initiative, you have your own program on this. Pero how has the peace process with the CPP, NPA, kasi parang, let's call it, parang it's in limbo, no? How has this affected the insurgency and the peace and order situation in terms of how the AFP addresses?
There's a big effect, actually. Kasi now the people are clamoring, the big sector of society in the country are now clamoring, let's end armed struggle.
Okay.
Let's end armed violence. Yun ang gusto ng tao eh. Wala na yung extortion na yan, wala na yung pagputok ng IED na yan, and things like that. Ayaw na ng tao yan eh. So that's what we're doing in order to prevent this. Bigyan din natin yung tao ng development so that they will be on their own, so that the roots of insurgency will be addressed. And yung mga really using the force or the using of arms to propagate certain individual, like extortion. Saan naman pumunta yung extortion? So, yun, we bring them before the bars of justice.
Sa pagkaalam po ninyo, humihina na ba yung CPP-NPA po?
Well, I would say they are the waning force. Talagang humihina na yan in terms of numbers, in terms of capability, and in terms of perception of the public.
So specialized operations na lang ang ginagawa nila?
Yes, yung mga kuwan na lang natin, tinitingnan natin those really involved in the use of arms and engage in criminal acts like extortion, grave threats, yun ang ating ina-address.
So but they gather groups in order to create this impression that they are a big group?
Yes, actually that's what they're doing.
Ganun ang ginagawa nila, humahatak sila sa iba-ibang lugar tapos kung yari mass formation sila.
Ginagawa na rin natin because of the approaches that we have in IPSP Bayanihan is focused military operations against the armed group.
Nabanggit ko po yung peace process sa CPP-NPA dahil katulad dyan sa Mindanao po, no? Of course, yung MILF proceeding na yung peace talks, yung peace process. There are certain sectors that are worried that since baka maiwanan nitong CPP-NPA, katulad nung last year, in 2013, there were about 200 NPAs that attacked a Del Monte plantation in Bukidnon. Tahimik na isang banda, pagkatapos, imbis na magkaroon ng komprehensibong katahimikan, meron pa rin gulo, lalo na andyan yung NPA, ngayon papasukan ng BIFF. So wala na naman yung komprehensibong Mindanao.
Yun ang ibigay natin sa publiko, Eric.
Okay.
Yung pag-atake sa Bukidnon, yung sinasabi mo sa plantation na yan, is that insurgency or is just a plain criminal act?
Okay.
Ano bang ginawa nila doon? Ginawa nila
law and order, ibig sabihin?
Yeah, criminal act. Violation of the revised penal code.
Okay.
Crimes against persons.
Okay.
Crimes against public order.
Okay.
Wala naman silang propagate na ano ba yung propagate nila?
So they should not
the public should know.
So should government now treat them as rebels or should we now start treating them as criminals?
We should now look at it, and that is a continuing assessment that we're doing. Ano ba to sila? Do they remain to become insurgents or they are now regressing to become criminals? In the strict sense of it. But the thing is, just so that I can continue with it, we cannot just, kung ano man yan, we have still to protect the people, the community, from the aggression or the threats that they exude sa area na yon.
Okay.
That's why we still continue to have
if the chief of staff calls you and says, General Tutaan, do you think we should recommend to the Secretary of National Defense that we come up with a position paper that they should now be treated as simple criminals? Would you support that?
There is actually an ongoing study on that, and I am not in a position right now, Eric, to
divulge
it.
Okay.
We're looking at
enough.
We are looking at it from a strategic point of view. Ano ba itong kanto? Kasi ang end in view natin is for us, ibigay na ang to address this as a peace and order law enforcement matter, so that the AFP can get out from internal operations and be on the external defense operations, territorial defense natin, para we go to the traditional roles
Nabanggit
of the AFP.
Yung external mode. AFP Chief of Staff Emmanuel Bautista said, we will support and protect yung ating mga local fishermen.
Yes.
And then medyo mabigat yung sinabi niya kontra sa mga Chinese. The Chinese claims are absolutely nonsense. If I might quote and re-quote him. Quote unquote him. Yun ang sabi. Absolutely nonsense. So we will protect our local fishermen. how far are we ready to protect them, and tama ba yun? Talagang panindigan natin yung nonsense yung mga
Meron
inject?
pa nga, sabi pa nga niya dyan, it's really nonsense. Just look at the map.
Okay.
So, makikita naman natin anong kaan.
Okay.
The areas that they are contesting are all closer to us within our
Okay.
territorial boundaries. So
Okay.
that is ours.
Okay.
So how they are able to claim such through historical, through whatever centuries ago na kinuha nila doon.
They may, sabi daw nila, and this is of course from me, no? And I support that. They may even claim all the way up to Europe because if I remember,
Kaya nga,
Genghis Khan went up all the way to
So
Europe.
I agree with the statement of Joel Bautista. It's nonsense.
Okay.
So the
So,
point is,
but
now
are we
will
ready to make a stand?
Yes, we are making a stand.
Okay.
In fact, the situation, we are to protect our fishermen in the area, and we come now. The armed forces will exert efforts to do that, to protect that.
Okay.
But remember, China is a big country.
Okay.
Malaki ang comparatively speaking sa atin.
Okay.
So we were doing our utmost best to really protect this.
Okay.
But in the same manner, we are undertaking the other diplomatic alternatives that we have by filing some inquiries or questions before the
Okay.
United Nations to look into this matter so that a peaceful result may be arrived at.
Okay.
Hindi yung talagang confrontational, armed confrontation na mangyayari
Okay.
between Chinese forces and the Philippine forces on that. Kasi we have to be realistic also that our capabilities are way beyond,
But-
or way behind the capabilities of China on this.
But how do we gain their respect even if we are
By
outfought?
making our stand on that. And we are making sure that we are, mga statements natin on that before the international communities and the protest that we have is to assert our territory, to assert our claim to the territory that we have. And probably that would be the deterrence for any other more military actions to be undertaken by China, because the whole community, the international community now is looking at that this is a dispute, and an international body such as the United Nations should be the one to resolve it.
There are foreign observers, and I'd like to slip this in before we end, that actually China is just testing us and how far we can go. But we often, and not the AFP, but our political leaders seems to be always blinking on an eyeball-to-eyeball situation, and which we shouldn't, because they say the only way to treat a bully is to stand up and fight. Even if we lose, but we will gain their respect for that.
There's another route to it. In order to confront a bully is to stand up. That's correct.
Yes,
But when you say stand up, let's all stand up as one nation,
correct.
as one people.
And
Lahat tayo dapat. Isipin mo, sabi ko nga imagine if all 100 million Filipinos would say, China, this is our territory. Makikita siguro siya, they're a big number to confront. It's not only the 125,000 strong armed forces who should stay up and say, hey, amin yan, kami protect. It has to be the whole nation. And
Tama yung sinasabi ninyo.
we call now our patriotism or nationalism na lahat tayong Pilipino. Imagine, daanin mo na lang sa Facebook, kung social media, kung lahat nagsasabi, amin to China, amin to ganito. I'm not instigating anything. But the point is, if we as a people, as a nation, are binded together,
Committed.
we are a strong and a credible country na hindi pwede nilang i-bully or just step on naman. Kasi 100 million Filipinos tayo.
Tama.
But kung sasabihin ng 100 million Filipinos na yung 125,000 strong AFP na lang ang humarap dyan, that's a different story.
Mahirap yan.
Makikita mo, hindi naman pala sila something like that. But if we stand as a nation, we rally behind national leadership, our leaders that we have elected, and stand on this, then we probably be a force to contend with by whether it's China or any other country.
Okay, that ends it on that final note. Sana nakikinig din yung mga tao na dapat natin tanungin, lalo na yung mga ayaw sa ROTC, kung sino ba talaga may-ari ng sprat list. Kasi yan ang fundamental question na dapat din nilang sagutin. At hindi dapat mag-equivocate na kasi kailangan magulo yung usapin na yan. Hindi, dapat sagutin nila sino may-ari ng sprat list. At pag nasagot nila ng diretso yan, ay baka paniwalaan nating makabayan din sila. Thank you very much.
Thank you also very much,
Major
Eric.
General Domingo Tutaan po.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat. At ito po si Eric Espina, palagi pong nagsasabi sa inyo, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan. Dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, mahing gabi, kaninyong tanan.